Little test here. So, hi, Trevor. Can you hear me in the classroom? Yes. Okay. Are you able to jump on your microphone for a second and just speak for 10 seconds? I'm just doing a little test here.
Hello.
Oh, good. Yeah, so we can hear you while there's music going here. Good. Okay, great. Good stuff. Okay. And that is, I'll bring that to that way. Trevor will see that on the big board. Can't see him talk about it going. Can you see that on the big board pretty clearly, Trevor? The concert in Las Vegas?
Yes.
You too? Yeah? Good. Now, I could share that full screen for you, but that would be to work because, well, I could try. Trevor won't hear the audio of that. See what happens if I share that. I'm gonna try and share this with you, Trevor. In other words, so that you can see this full screen. You won't hear the audio. Let's see for the moment if I can do it and if it will work. Oh, it's gonna be staggered. Yeah, I think. But right. Okay. Trevor, what can you see right now on your screen?
Towards the crowd, hyping the crowd or something.
Are you seeing the concert full screen Bono on stage but no audio? Is
No, I hear it.
that what you're seeing?
Yeah.
Hello.
Let's see on
How
the
are
YouTube
you?
live stream. Take a look and see what
Where are we?
that looks like.
Why are we?
I'm sharing it now.
Who are
Yeah,
we?
good. On YouTube, it's full screen. Yep,
I know who you are.
working,
You are me.
working.
I
Great.
know
Okay,
who
we're
you
gonna
are.
start. Come on in, Ryan.
You're the edge.
Lovely. So that does work. It just takes a little bit of handling, but I'm gonna bring
I
it
want to
back to the
spend my
classroom.
life
So
trying to figure you
you can
out.
hear the audio from Bono. Uh, oh, look at this. That's gonna look. Yeah.
Give you one more chance. You'll be satisfied.
So that's what you
Two more
see.
chances. You
See.
won't be
Uh,
denied. The hard way always be
There's the YouTube,
somewhere you can
and
see. Give me one more
on
chance.
YouTube they can hear me, but they won't hear the video. They won't hear Bono. They'll hear us. Staggered. I'm gonna stop sharing and bring things back. To do that, I have to go back to Korea,
You're the real thing. Even
and
you're the real
I'll
thing.
stop sharing up here, which means we're back here, and I'm gonna stop the video. To do that, go over to Bono, and I'm to. Well, I can keep that going, but I'll just kill the audio there. And that way, Okay, we're going to start very shortly. That way we come back to Toria. Yeah, so that's good. Trevor's there. And if I went over to YouTube, I would be back in the classroom. Good. So that's all good. So then what I need to do is essentially come to Toria and move this over somewhere else. So I'm going to bring this here, and I'm going to bring, don't do that, and I'll bring that there. Yeah, good. Okay. So the audio is working, everything is good, and I just want to make sure one more time, Trevor, that you can hear me. So would you please come on your microphone and just say, yes, I can?
Yes, I can.
Ooh, okay, hold on. Hi, Trevor, can you still hear clearly?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, good. So let's get going. I'm going to close the doors. Things are working the way they should. Okay. And what I will do is I can keep that going there. That's nice. And maybe I'll come around the other way. So I want to bring that over here, and I want to bring that over here. Great. Okay. Excellent. I think we can start. It's going to be a short class, but as short as you want it. I'm here for as long as you want me to be here. Okay? And I just want to welcome you all to our final class of the semester. And this is essentially a time for you to ask any questions, for you to say anything you like, for you to get off your chest, anything you want to get off your chest, for you to talk about anything you like related to anything that matters. Most importantly, your assignments that are due on at 11:59 p.m. tonight. And for those of you who've already sent them in yesterday, you're getting the 10% bonus. And so there's a lot I could talk about, but I would rather just make sure that you end the semester the way you want, which is you speak, you get the questions answered, and you may want to respond to each other as well, and I'll help you with the microphone. So let's see, I will show you something, by the way. I have a little camera angle, a new camera angle. So for those of you sitting here, this is, watch this, you'll see on the, that we can go there. Okay, it's I've hooked up my little camera there so we can get the view there, but I'll keep this for now over here. And of course, I can always swing over to the board and talk. So I'm getting better at all of this. But essentially, the microphones are here. Is everybody good? You feel you're on track for your final? Well, Ariana is in. I've seen it's looking very good. My Tays, I've read just the first time already. Very, very good. Very interesting. Although there are some things I may disagree with, but I'll let you know in my reaction. I'm going to send you a little audio feedback after I finish it properly. No, because it's too much off the top of my head, and I just took a quick look at it today. But it's more facts that I want to talk to you about, but not the general approach you're taking. But I love the fact that you are taking on this idea of democracy and freedom and liberty and saying, you know, we don't have what we think we have in this world. Okay. But I have some disagreement. It's just that I want to make sure that I check some facts before I give them to you because, well, I'll say one thing, but hold on. Before we get going, my day and I start, again, I just want to say what a pleasure it is to come into a class and interact with all of you like this. This is the way I think of the future for a classroom. And but this is not about me right now today or about this. It's about you. So, does anybody have anything they want to speak to in terms of their particularly final assignment? And let's see, Trevor, is there anything on your mind right now that you want to speak to, or do you feel you're on top of the delivery of your final assignment?
No.
You don't. There's nothing you want to say, correct?
Yes.
Okay, good. So, if none of you have anything you want to address in terms of the final assignment, then we can move on and talk about what you want to talk about, and then we'll end the class when you want to end it. But I'm here until the end if you want me to be here for that. Okay? And I'm going to be working very hard over the next 72 hours, getting a lot of marks done and a lot of papers read. So grab a microphone if you like, and we can talk about absolutely anything in this space. That's what this space is for. As long as we don't swear, although sometimes it does come out in passion, as long as there is an intelligent mind at work trying to figure things out, and as long as there's an understanding that we are together and that we're not at each other's throats. We might be disagreeing, but we don't violently attack each other, and we're against that in this space. No, but the world can be these days. You mean about the violently? Oh, no, not at all. I've never felt that, but you look around you in the world outside of this classroom. But yes, I'm hoping that in 2025, when we go to the World Expo in Japan, that's the plan right now. I've met with our president, and we're going to have a team in place in the new year. The World Expo, we're going to make a major presentation, and we're going to say we have the most amazing classroom for the future built right out of Durham College. Live, multimedia, accessible to all, but most importantly, in person, interactive, and all the people who are joining from around the world that can drop in, they're welcome to drop in, but this is not Zoom. This is bringing interaction, live interaction back using technology well, and most importantly, where we can talk about really difficult things. I think we need this. Humanity needs this. So I don't want to underestimate the kind of things we've been doing in this class in terms of where we're going to take this for education. I really believe in what we're doing in this classroom as a model for the future. And I thank you for sharing what you share. So anyways, go ahead, okay? Because there's lots I can talk about, but Zam, you okay? Yeah? Anything you want to say? Richie, if you want to speak, please do, because you were missed in the early parts of the semester in terms of your contributions, but it's nice to see you here. Maite, of course, and it's Alec. Alex Giroux? Ah, nice to see you. Excellent. Okay, Maite, yeah, please.
Okay, well, I just want to conclude by saying that everything out there in the natural world has an explanation, okay? And we need to use our mind to question everything, because it doesn't matter that I don't know why something is happening. It has a source, and probably, well, not probably, surely it's not a magical source, okay? We just we can't put our ignorance in an altar and call it God. I'm not saying there are not God doesn't exist. I'm not saying there's forces in nature that perhaps are helping us or looking after us or anything. Everybody is free to believe whatever they want. The problem is when you believe blindfolded, when you don't question, when you just follow, because if you are not thinking, somebody else is thinking for you to push you to do something that perhaps is not even in your benefit. And
Right on the board.
my final paper was about that. The title was Democracy and the Illusion of Freedom and Choice. So if you allow me, Lon, I would like
Go
to,
ahead, I'm gonna make
put it out there in the reflection so everybody can read it.
I just want to explain to everybody, this is exactly how I see the global classroom developing, which is I can go over to that board and I can write down your insights, sometimes in quotation marks. Come on, Ryan, and you can learn from each other. This is a beautiful way to learn together. So that's what I'm going to do as much as I can right now. And I just want to make sure I'll take this down quickly. You just keep going, Maite.
Okay.
Put some critical things
Okay.
down. Keep going, guys.
So the paper's name is Democracy, the Illusion of Freedom and Choice, because democracy is a political figure which is sold out like the paladin of justice and freedom, and the only way to get whatever you want through capitalism, because it's the only way you can become a successful entrepreneur. But it's not like that if you actually investigate, okay? And especially when we go to what is the basic, because democracy is supposed to be about the people be represented by other people that's been chosen, okay? And they are chosen to represent you in your best interests. But are they really? Because I'm not going global for whatever situation is going in the world now. You can just see it right here in Canada, okay? You can see the housing problem, the homeless problem. There are a lot of people in downtown Oshawa and in Toronto because I went there. And there's medical issues because you don't have enough doctors. So where's the money? Where's the money? Because Canada has
Potatoes today.
mines
Jeez,
all over the world.
smells
In Mexico has mines for the lithium and the copper. So where's the money? It should be here, and I don't see it. But you're feeling like we are living in a very democratic place because they let you choose your tonic flavor. Okay, you want chocolate or you want strawberry? Oh, I'm free to choose. I'm free to choose either if I take a Tim Hortons or a Starbucks. Nobody can tell me what to do. Is that really democracy? Is that real? That's the freedom choice. They will give you lame, foolish choices so you can feel you're in control of your life.
Okay, let's.
You can question
There's a
that.
lot there to think about, and you've given a very good meal. You put a good meal on the table here. But I'm getting drawn over to these potatoes and but anyways, we got cashews, we got good. The only thing we can't have here, unfortunately, is a glass of wine or a beer or a few other things. That
Glass
would
of
make
wine
this-
would be nice.
But I often think of what happens here as an intellectual party, and a classroom should be a learning party if it's done well. So we're having a little learning party of minds, and so that Maite has touched on this idea of that has been there all through the semester, which is great, which is, are we really as free as we think? And is democracy really a good system or not? These are great questions to ask, okay? But I just want to make sure that you all have a chance to address some of your own questions before we come back and engage, because the truth is, Maite and I could take this class and just run with it together. but I don't want to do that. And Ryan, and Ariana, there's a few who really jump in, but I don't want to make the others feel that they're excluded in any way. It's really important. Okay, so let's just check for a second. Alec, is there anything that you want to address? You're good. Okay, just know that if you want to jump in, we're in our final class of the semester. We can talk about anything and everything as long as we do it as good, intelligent humans with strong brains and big hearts. Okay? Ryan, Ariana, otherwise we can. Which is. Yep.
I was just saying, like, I feel like that's a good way to like sum up the semester. Like, just we can talk about whatever we want in like the last class, and kind of make it more, expansion of consciousness, kind of intuitively creative, like branching off from that. So I feel like that's a good way to sum up, everything we've learned throughout the semester.
Good. They're the two greatest powers that it's been said humans possess. You can decide on the order, one or two: creative intelligence and critical thinking. But you can decide which one you think is most important. I would put creative intelligence first, critical thinking second, but they're both hugely important. So let's expand. Let's expand. All right.
I would have to disagree with your statement about the critical thinking and what was it? Creative. Did I get it mixed up?
Intelligence.
Creative intelligence. Okay. Critical thinking is something that humans have to do every single day, right? Some more than others, but it is a method of survival, right? Critical thinking, like, for example, you're about to miss your bus and you see it coming up Simcoe. Do you jaywalk, run across the street, or do you just wait for the next bus? That's critical thinking because there's the possibility of being hit by a car, right? And so I think critical thinking comes before
Creative intelligence.
creative intelligence.
Okay.
Yes, that's my point of view.
Well, I wonder if we would have advanced, and we have advanced, although we have advanced with new problems, as William McNeill has called it. It's the paradox of progress. We do move forwards, but then we have bigger problems. So it's a double-edged sword. But how would we move forwards without those leaps of imagination, that creativity? How would we figure new things out if it was always just about critical thinking?
Well,
Where's that space for the new idea?
no, I'm sure that that's included. However, critical thinking is utmost important to survive. That's just my point. It's not that I'm saying that it's least important or whatever, but critical thinking, in my opinion, comes first because
First.
of survival.
Here. Okay. Ryan?
Oh, okay, there's on. I think I'm kind of the counterpoint to this. Like, not to say that both aren't important, but I think like me personally, the way I live is more from like the intuitive side, because like in your example, like you might catch the bus like just in time, and it might just be like the exact time, so you didn't have to like rush really fast, but it wasn't like you were like taking your time either. It just like was in flow, right?
Yes.
And I think that there's something to what you mentioned about creative intelligence, because if going back to the very old times when we're Neanderthals and stuff like that, if it was just man see big rock and man see big rock, man see big rock, and not man push big rock or something like that, we would never learn how things work and like think, okay, if this works, what else can we do that's building on top of this idea?
Yes.
So because you would never have like the intuitive nature of your mind to like think beyond what is around you presently.
Yeah. For sure. Richie?
Yeah, so I just wanted to add on to what Mate was talking about, thinking critically. From what I would just want to add on to that, it's not enough to simply question or think critically. You also have to practice it. Yes, because so I come from a so-called democratic state. But
Which is
Kenya,
Kenya.
yes.
home country or birthplace of Barack Obama,
Yes.
or his father.
Yes,
right?
yeah.
He was born in the U.S., but remember the former American president, first black from Kenya.
Yes.
So Richie knows a little bit about this. Go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, we could go on and on about Barack Obama's story. It's pretty unique. But yeah, so
So-called democracy.
Yeah.
So-called.
yeah, so-called, because back in my country, everyone is always talking about politics. It's either they're criticizing or supporting some policies or politicians, or so politics is very passionate topic in my home country. But when it comes to practicing democracy, when it comes to practicing what they preach, it's a completely different story. So we have a lot of critical thinkers back in my home country, but putting it into practice has always been a problem.
Okay. This is. Would it be possible for you to come and sit so everyone could see you, because you've never been there this
Yeah.
semester on that seat, and you because I think we might be having a theme emerging, which is great, and that is Richie's insights into this idea of democracy and freedom coming from Africa, coming from Kenya, of all countries, where there was an American president who came out of that soil, if you will.
Yeah.
Also, the critical mind that Richie is bringing to this. So keep going, okay, Richie, and then everybody can see him on the recordings too. And tell us more about this. What you want to say about democracy?
Yeah, so I think before I continue, I just wanted to. I think it was Jamal Khashoggi, the journalist.
Saudi journalist who
Yeah.
was
Yeah, who was.
tortured and killed by the Saudi leadership.
Yeah.
It's a terrible, terrible story. Are you able to explain it a little bit?
Yeah, yeah. So he.
Explain it to everybody so they know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
okay?
So I think Jamal Khashoggi was a very inspirational character, because he was essentially killed for criticizing the Saudi government.
Saudi prince.
The Saudi
Crown
prince, yes. But before he died, I had the chance to listen to what he was saying. So at one point, I think he said, democracy means different things to different people. Yeah. So what could be democratic for you may not be democratic for someone else. So democracy, I think it really spoke to me, because it's so true. Because we think we understand democracy, but it's really complex.
This is what she writes about. This is good, Richie, and this is exactly what Maite was writing about in her final. So, but keep going, because we've got.
I answered you back.
This is lovely. We have right now an African, although Africa
Okay.
is hugely diverse, a Kenyan perspective,
Okay.
a South
Mexican.
American, or we won't say
Mexican.
Mexican.
Why Canadians think Mexico is South America? We have a free trade
Okay.
pact.
It's Central.
It's not Central America, it's North America alone. People here, I mean, in general, in elementary schools, yes.
Yes, you're right.
What happened with you? People here don't know geography. I have been listening at this statement over and over in elementary schools and in high schools, and I'm like, what?
I wasn't thinking Mexico at that time.
Mexico is North America alone.
Right, and
You need to check geography, please. Okay, and about what you said, democracy is not different for everybody. There is a definition for democracy. If you don't follow that definition, it is not democracy. It's just a nice package, like Christmas package, they are selling to you, but it is not. So it's not that hard. On the other hand, we have people taking advantage of that, that they enforce what they want to do, or they want to impose for their own benefits. That's the whole thing. And we can see it now in USA, how the thing is going. And in the European Union,
Yeah.
we can see it now. It's so clear. You just have to follow the money.
Keep this go. I can't think of a better thing to talk about in the final class than the idea of this system of freedom and liberty and human rights that we have won for ourselves, but may not be as good as we think it is. Because this is, I'm afraid to say, after 10,000 years of human civilization, in which people are now talking now about reconstructing civilization because there's so many problems with it. But this is the best we have. The best system of governance that we have. But it's not perfect, but it is a work in progress. I would love to hear from Mate and Richie. What is a better?
It's the post-capitalism system.
But what is, if you take this system we have where we all vote, and our vote is supposed to be sacred. And
But it is not.
but I'm talking about the system that we have created, but it's not, it's very messy, filled with problems. But what is better? Today,
It's not. Just one question.
around us, where do we see a
Okay.
better way of humans governing?
Okay.
But okay,
This,
Ariana,
see,
let me answer. Okay.
work in progress.
Okay, just one question. No, she's gonna let me tell you. I just want to ask you, because this idea of democracy is freedom and you have the choice and you have the liberty to choose, that is not accurate. Okay, so that's just an utopia, an illusion. Just one question. Why would you prefer a bad democracy than a good authoritarian country? Because you can see it now what happened with the COVID. I have many videos, I saw many videos, people in the United States, I am free to not wear a mask. I am free because this is a lie. And they was wasting time. Listen to these people. You wear a mask, that's it. Because it's a matter of health, of public health. It's not for question, but they have swallowing the narrative that they can do whatever they want. And in that moment is when you lose as a society.
Yeah.
When you know, when there's a strong government that tells you, this is what we have to do, and it's for everybody's benefit, I would say that's better.
So, oh, go ahead.
I just have to say something about what Lon was saying. So if you're just going to answer my take, just go ahead.
Keep going. I'm just putting a couple.
ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, Richie.
Yeah, so continuing from what I was saying about democracy, so yeah, you're right. Pure democracy, the concept of a pure democracy hasn't changed, but in the world, it's not been practiced. Yeah, so I mean, we all want our votes to matter, but in theory or in practice, it doesn't really work.
Practice.
Yeah, it
That's
doesn't really work that way.
begins to kind of face the difficulties that we are living in right now. But again, I just want to remind you all why this is so relevant. Alfred North Whitehead, whom I've quoted many times, talked about this thing called the slow sunrise in human civilization. The sun is rising slowly, meaning that humans are gaining greater and greater freedoms for themselves, slowly but surely.
Yes.
So freedom, democracy, liberty, you can't get bigger and better than this in terms of trying to understand it now in 2023, long after Alfred North Whitehead wrote this. This is the question to ask. These are so go ahead, Alex.
Here we go. Okay. I just wanted to talk about my personal experience of democracy in our Canadian elections, we vote by electing MPs, and the MPs elect the prime minister. But where I'm from a very conservative area, and historically has always voted conservative. Consistently, does not matter what they do, who it is. Our MP got arrested for domestic terrorism threats, and people still support him. But so for me, who's very much not a conservative, I feel that my vote does not matter, no matter who it was, because I still vote. But if I can vote for Green Party, the Liberals, the NDP, the whoever, vote for literally anyone else, and the vote does not matter. And so I feel kind of pointless in doing it. And I see a lot of my friends and my peers feel the same way, and they do not participate because of it.
Very excellent. I just want to correct something because we've got to make sure our facts are correct. The members of parliament who are elected don't choose the prime minister. We do. He's a member of parliament. Okay. Yeah, but the party, the Liberal Party. But no, it's okay. Other than that, you're talking about what many say is a crisis today, Alec, in participatory democracy. Many people feel the same way you do. Okay?
So
Ariana.
in terms of voting MPs and stuff like that, it matters like seats and stuff like that, right? But anyways, what I wanted to say about democracy is that the Merriam-Webster dictionary defines democracy as a government of the people and a government in which the supreme power is vested in the people and exercised by them directly or indirectly through a system of representation, usually involving periodically held free elections. What you were saying about
Participatory or
no, what you were saying about the government, about how is it like better? How can we have better?
or is there a better
Is there a
system
better?
there today anywhere in the world?
Currently in the world, there isn't, it, to my knowledge, a system that is significantly better. However, there are so many different things about like our government, I guess, that could be changed. You know, there are people that don't in Canada that don't have access to clean drinking water. There are people that are without shelter. There are people that struggle to find food, and some people suffer with these things, and you might not know it, right? And I think that's the issue, is that these people, even though they're a small minority of people, they're being underrepresented in terms of like the whole country. So what you were saying about conservatives, I completely agree, because I usually vote NDP. However, when it comes to the next election, regardless of whoever I vote for, conservative is going to be elected for like Pierre Poilievre is going to become the next prime minister, right? So regardless if I vote for Jagmeet Singh or Justin Trudeau, even though I really don't want to do that, Pierre Poilievre will be the next prime minister. And that's the unfortunate thing, is because those people who are suffering the most in the country, even though our economy will get like maybe a little bit better, everyone who's suffering truly in the country, they're being disregarded completely. They're even like, there are just so many messed up things for each party in my mind. Like, I don't want to go into it, but there are a lot of lies that are being told by Justin Trudeau, Jagmeet Singh, Pierre Poilievre. Everyone lies, right? If you're a politician, apparently. But, you know, there's like, in theory, there are so many other ways where it could be perfect, but I agree with you. I don't think it could ever be perfect because we're so set in our ways.
Well,
Go ahead, Mike.
Okay,
Brian,
I was gonna say,
okay, Brian, because he raised his hand. Okay, then come to Maite.
okay.
I was just gonna say something on that idea. I feel like, you know, though we have the illusion basically of, you know, who we elect, I feel like it's already decided before the vote even
course.
happens. Like the people who like really run the show behind the scenes, who like come in with the dark suits and tell them how it's gonna be done, like those guys really run what's going on. And if you give people the illusion of free will, then, you know, they don't think to question, oh yeah, is you know, this really what we voted for, or well, we voted, so you know, it must be.
I'm going to bite my tongue and not say anything because I want to make sure you all have a chance. Okay, and it's really important. But I could say challenge Ariana a little bit, Brian, but I'm not going to later. Okay, but Maite and then keep going. Alec.
Okay, what Ariana just wrote, the definition you read?
Yeah,
Yes.
Merriam-Webster's definition.
Okay, so that's the definition. Okay, Richie? So it is not like that. It doesn't work. So it's proven, it's failing. Okay, it's a failed system. It's a masquerade. And you're saying what will be better? And I'm gonna say something that might give you a heart attack. So please hold on your pants.
Okay, I'm holding.
Please. Okay. So perhaps because we didn't study this part.
Yeah, go ahead.
We didn't study this part, and this part is about socialist. Because people think when they think socialist, they think in poverty. Because everybody's gonna be poor. Yes, we're gonna be equally poor, all of us. And the government is gonna put the boot in our necks. But it doesn't have to be like that. Because it's not the partition, how do you say when you give to everybody? When you give to everybody.
When you give to everybody,
The distribution, it doesn't have to be the distribution of poverty. Socialism, the root is the distribution of the wealth. Yes, the production ways. Because in capitalism, who holds the wealth is the entrepreneur, okay? And he's gonna pay you whatever he wants. Now is regulated. But at the beginning of the 20th century, they pay you whatever they want and make you work 20 hours, 18 hours, 21 hours. And it didn't matter if you were a day. It didn't matter if you were a child, if you were an old person, if you were pregnant. You could have given birth in the line of production. They didn't care. Okay? So, as the dream of being in a capitalism system that I can succeed and make my own enterprise. And no, check the statistics. It's not like that. Okay? It's more frequent to be in the line of production with a salary and a schedule, and they pay you enough to have your house, your TV, your Netflix, your
Not even
food.
enough. Not even enough.
And sometimes you have to have roommates sometimes to afford that. And you are you have the free. You have freedom. You can choose either go to work in the line of production or starve. That is your choice. But and the entrepreneur, the capitalist entrepreneur, he's gonna hold the wealth, the earnings, the money. It's not going to flow into the bottom of the pyramid, of the social pyramid. It's gonna hold it, and it's gonna go to tax paradise, and it's gonna make you poor. But if I'm not saying socialism is the panacea, okay? I'm saying that the socialism is the government that says, you get this, you get this, you get this, and the wealth is equally, or not equally, but it's distributed. I'm not saying we have to be all the same. I'm saying that we can have equal opportunity to the wealth and dignity and
It's critical.
quality of life, because in capitalism we don't have it. And in this democratic country, and the one that is under us, beneath us, they don't have it either.
That's Azam, you want excellent, Maite. Azam, you want to say something? Go ahead. Good.
So-
Yeah.
Oh, it's on.
Want to-
Oh.
Yeah, you good? I'll just make sure. Yeah. Yep, you're good.
Oh, cool.
Go ahead.
All right, so I'm really confused because I keep confusing the two between socialism and communism.
Ooh,
But what's
good. Help.
yes, please? What is
Good
socialism?
question.
So the definition of socialism, according to Merriam-Webster dictionary, is sorry, any of various egalitarian economic and political theories or movements advocating collective or governmental ownership and administration of the means of production and distribution of goods, and a system of society or group living in which there is no private property. Okay, that's socialism.
But let me just help, and so you understand what goods means, okay? Because when we talk about the world around us, we talk about goods and services. That's often how we measure a country's wealth today in terms of domestic product. So the goods are all the stuff, you know, you have your clothes, this, anything that you can buy, anything, any objects around you, those are goods, okay?
And
Then
what the
there's
country,
services.
what
My
the country
teaching
can
is a
produce
service.
too.
Your doctor is is a service. So we measure the things around us in our world in terms of goods and services. Then there's property, which is stuff you own, your house and everything. That's those terms are important, okay? What she's talking about.
I mean, when it comes to a country's like wealth, there's also like the what we can produce, right? So like there's the natural resources that we can
Production, yes.
produce, and that also contributes to a lot of our wealth, right?
But remember, let's make sure he gets he's saying, what's the difference between
Right, sorry.
communism and
So okay, so
It's a
then
good question.
okay, 1 second.
Go ahead.
So then the definition of capitalism is an economic system characterized by private or corporate ownership of capital goods, by investments that are determined by private decisions and by prices, production, and the distribution of goods that are determined mainly by competition in a free market. Yeah.
Communism. All
It's
these
communism.
isms now, because these are systems, ideologies, things that we live by, Azam. They're the big systems around us, okay?
Is there anything else you wanted to say?
Okay, communism, socialism, capitalism.
Oh, I just said communism.
Okay? What's the difference?
Oh, communism now, my bad. Next. Communism.
Because I'm going to introduce, as Ariane is looking at this, I'm going to come back to something that Maite and I have discussed a little bit, and I touched on it in the 20th century lectures I gave, but I wish I could go into more detail. It's called totalitarian.
Yeah.
Now, there is a fact. There is a fact. It's very important to keep in mind. In the 20th century, when big communist governments emerged in the world, in fact, the ideology of communism began in the 20th century, and it comes from the mind of a gentleman named Karl Marx.
Okay, listen, if we start getting into Karl Marx stuff, we're getting into a lot of
What
different
I'm saying
stuff.
is that I want to, and then you go ahead. In the two greatest empires of the 20th century that were communist, Soviet Union and China, they have both become totalitarian.
Yeah.
Which tells you that, and we will discuss maybe this, communism has tried to create a system and ended up becoming totalitarian. In other words, we don't want communism. We don't want totalitarian.
Communism, no. But
Go ahead,
listen,
yeah, okay?
So the definition of communism, according to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, is a system in which goods are owned in common and are available to all as needed, and a theory advocating elimination of private property. So what you have is mine and what I have is yours, basically. Not really.
but
Not really.
can you read the characteristics of communism?
Characteristics.
Because those have to be taken in account.
Okay.
The
Well,
characteristics.
I think
And what you said about the Soviet Union, how is it?
Soviet
I'll
Union.
come back. I want to make sure he's
Yes.
Wait.
answered. Do you feel you're understanding? And you can say no.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Or
do you feel you're
socialism.
understanding the difference? Okay, good. Go ahead and look it up. Great. Look. good.
Of communism? Okay. Mm,
We're still looking at the definition of socialism? Okay. Well, first, sure.
so are you talking about like features of like a communist society and stuff like that? Or like what are you talking about?
Just the
What I say is that I'm gonna try to explain it very fast. Communism is like, you can quite see if the difference between socialism and communism, because in communism, there's only one party,
Right.
political party. It's mandatory. The leader is the only one. It kinds of is like a sect.
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
And if you don't accept it, you're going to be enforced to accept it. And if you don't do that, you're going to be punished or killed. That's the difference.
I mean, like look at Russia or North Korea, for example. No. Because
North Korea is very different from Russia.
well, I understand that. However, they are still a communist party, right?
Russia is not communist, it's socialist. But, and just
the distinction.
one thing,
Important. That's important.
Pardon me?
The distinction between
yes,
what's
it's different.
No, because China today is the Communist Party of China. So Xi Jinping is the general secretary of in the Soviet Union. Russia was the main country, but then the Soviet Union was dismantled. There is no Soviet Union anymore. There's the Russian Federation. But Russia, under Vladimir Putin, officially calls itself a republic today, the republic. But in truth, a cult of personality has formed around Vladimir Putin that he's encouraged in the same way that one did around Joseph Stalin when he was the communist Soviet leader of the Soviet Union. Unofficially, Russia has not changed much since the communist days when Joseph Stalin became the cruelest representation of its power. He killed millions of his own people, like we're talking millions, 10 to 15 million of his own, and forced. So did China. Mao Zedong killed in moving people around. We could say, Brian, in real, in actual fact, Russia has not changed since the collapse of the Soviet.
But this is the narrative. Okay.
But the dangerous part here, and we have this problem here in Canada too, and the US especially. Do you know that Vladimir Putin has just put himself forward again as a candidate to be elected for the 5th time as the president of Russia? But when he does that, he knows he will be elected because the elections themselves are not carried out fairly, and it's a foregone conclusion that he will win. It's very dangerous when you get these totalitarian autocrats who use democracy and they claim that there's an election, but there isn't. Well, we have that problem here in Canada to some extent, and we certainly have it in the United States right now greatly. And this is a huge problem for all of humanity, which is so many countries are calling themselves democratic today. Democracy has grown in the world hugely. But the question is the system of democracy they're following just being twisted and abused to maintain?
Of course.
And Maite is not wrong, but
Yes.
But I have more hope. I always will have more hope in the human than you do. But that's the difference.
Okay, but you're talking about democracy, yes, democracy, that.
Yes.
And for example, how many coup d'etat
Yes.
the very democratic country, United States, have performed in Asia, in Africa, in Latin America. So how is that possible being such a democratic country? The answer is it is not. You talk about Russia and Stalin killing millions of people. Yes, but King Leopold of Belgium, how many people killed in Congo? 20 million. And nobody talks about that.
No one
Okay?
talks about
How do you mention one? Oh, Ronald Reagan, he was such a nice man. He loved horses. Ronald Reagan. And
Nice man.
well, he loved horses. And Margaret Thatcher. Oh, you mentioned them like very, like people to, wait. And I said, no, you're not.
You're
Gave you facts to show you that it is possible for people that you think are not doing the right job actually can do something.
What did they do?
Open you to that.
What did they do? Margaret Thatcher was a prime minister when it was the South African apartheid enforced by the British. And she orchestrated the Malvinas war. What did she do? And Ronald Reagan, during his period, there were many wars orchestrated by the CIA by Henry Kissinger. So,
Maite, this is general knowledge, though. We all know that these leaders are.
what you don't know is this.
Okay, hold on, wait. We all know, most of us know, that our leaders in the world are not good people, okay? They're people with flaws, just like you and I, right? Everyone is flawed. No one is going to be perfect in any way. When it comes to like genocide, like in Congo, like you're saying, there's genocides happening in Palestine, in Ukraine, I'm pretty sure that's still a thing. Taiwan, there's a war going on there. Is it Taiwan?
I'm going to have to correct you about something. And maybe it's the Jew in me that's saying this, but I have to say this, okay? Because you said it in your paper too. What is happening in Palestine is not a genocide. Let me explain what.
So, okay, hold on. Is it not an ethic? Is it not an
What? Oh, it's
ethnical
not.
cleansing?
I listen. I'm with you on that. Do you remember when I showed you the Wannsee conference? Wannsee. This is really in the talk I gave on the 20th century. I showed a. I could have talked about it myself, but I wanted you to see the evidence too. There is a German production that was made about a conference that took place in 1942 in the suburb of Berlin, in which Hitler. No, hold on. Let me. This is real. This is not conspiracy. There's evidence for this. You simply need to go to any concentration camp museum. Hitler and his senior deputies, the deputies who were tasked by Hitler, met in a state that they had taken over that had been owned by a Jewish industrialist at the time. They met in one of their big rooms there for 90 minutes in which they planned out the final solution. In other words, about 15 men sat around a table from the German National Socialist Movement and Party, the Nazi Party, the senior deputies, and they tried to figure out how do you liquidate, kill 15 million people, not 6, just it's all the people they didn't want in all the countries they were occupying. They had a list. There's evidence, a list of Lithuania, Poland, Germany, all the countries where there were people, whether they were Jews, whether they were gypsies, whether they were people with, mental health issues, whether they were black, anything. Genocide is the planned extermination of an entire culture of people. That is not what's happening in Palestine.
Okay, so can you please explain to me?
War between two extremists, Benjamin Netanyahu and his government,
Mhm.
are extremist, right-wing, and they have largely created this problem. It's a huge mess. And Hamas, if you read their charter,
That's an excuse. That's an excuse.
No, I'm sorry, Lon.
It is not-
Lon. I'm not arguing with you over this because
That's genocide.
they are exterminating Palestinian people. Do you understand that there are people that are going to wells to receive water and they're being bombed? Family lines are being exterminated. That is genocide. That is genocide.
And I have a video of Netanyahu showing the map of the future Israel, and it's with Egypt all the Lebanon. So if that is planned,
Okay, but the thing is, hold on. The thing is like I understand like where you're coming from with the whole Nazi party thing. I understand that. However, what Israel is doing, I'm sorry, it's very Nazi-like. They're repeating history of what they didn't want to be done to them. It's like so hypocritical. It's
It's
Yeah.
I will say as a human being that it sickens me, saddens me, and preoccupies me as much as it does you in terms of what we're seeing play out live every night. However, I am well aware that Hamas has used its own people and its own children as a way. Take a look at the leader Sinwar. They have used their own people. We're talking about an organization that, let me just, Maite, okay, let me just read the charter of Hamas, and you will see that what they want is to kill all Jews, to rid the world, not of Israelis, but Jews. You have a point, and I struggle with this greatly today as a Jew myself, which is we are doing what others have done to us. This has to stop. But please accept that this is not a war against an entire culture of people called the Palestinians. No Jew, not even Netanyahu in his own craziness, would want to eliminate an entire culture of people. Why? Because Israel is in a world of Arabs and Muslims. It's not just Palestinians. Why would they ever want to eliminate a group of people who are part of an entire civilization?
yeah. I ask myself that question every day, Lon.
Can I say something?
Wait. I ask myself this question every day as to why they would want to exterminate a whole a culture that has been living in like that piece of land for how many years? It has been 78 years that Israel has continuously been poking the bear, okay? This is what's happening. And and then I'm not saying this necessarily in terms of you, but when it comes to Israel, they're always woe is me when it comes to like Nazi Germany and whatever. But this is what's happening again. They're repeating history on what was done to them. Am I not correct?
Well,
Can I say
I'm
something?
gonna stop because I just want to say how wonderful it is
Yeah. So I just wanted
to
to.
these things. But go ahead, Richie.
Yeah. So I kind of I kind of want to side with Lon a bit because
You don't have to.
no,
Please, okay?
I think I have to because I kind of understand like kind of being caught in the middle between conflict because back in my country we've been victims of terrorism um going back all the way to 1997 98, and it's not like our country has anything or wants anything to do with like any global politics or religious how do I say this, like the Kenyans are not interested in arguing over religion, yet we've been victims of terrorism. So back in 2015 there was a terrorist incident in the capital. I was actually living there at that time, Nairobi.
Well known.
Yeah, some terrorists of Somali origin from the terrorist group called Al Shabaab attacked one of the biggest malls in the capital, and the siege went on for around 2 days, and it was really nerve-wracking for anyone who was around there. So what I'm trying to say is this: the terrorists attacked us because they claimed our military invaded their country under false pretense. So the terrorists attacked us because of the military. We did not vote to send the military to Somalia. The government did. We were victims of that action. You see, so because of that action, we got the consequences of it, and we're paying for it. A lot of people have died in the 2010s to 2020s because of terrorist incidents. There's one tragic story in 2017. A university got attacked. A university that borders Somalia got attacked by the Al-Shabaab terrorists, and 150 students got killed. So, it's some tragic news. I'm very sure it's not even not many in the West know about that. Yeah, so it's very. I find it very difficult to like support to pick a side in the Israel-Palestine war, because I know the consequences of terrorism. Yet, if you look at what the Israeli military is doing, you can't also accept that. So you're kind of caught in the middle.
So, okay, so according to you, what is the Israeli government, what is their theory as to why they were doing this, their reasoning?
Obviously, when a military is attacked or a country is attacked, the military is going to respond.
Okay, but who was
But-
attacking? Wait.
Sorry? Now, you see, that's the thing. The Palestinians didn't attack the Israeli state. Hamas attacked the Israeli state,
So,
right?
okay,
Yeah, the Israelis attacking the Palestinians. Correct. It's a very, yeah, and I don't agree with that. Like the same way the way the Al Shabaab were attacking us, like yeah, our military is, yes. Sorry. Yes. Yes.
Microphone. Just give her the microphone. Where the hell? I can't hear her. No, where's the microphone here? Where's the third one? Yeah,
it's
sitting
dead. It's dead. It's
Only
dead.
yours. You go and you keep going because this is excellent. Keep going.
It's dead. It's
Oh,
dead.
I'm gonna put a battery in. I'll
would you
put
like-
batteries. Make sure she has microphone. Okay, battery check.
My question, Richie, was
Yes.
when the university was bombed and all these people was killed,
Yes.
your army
Yes.
keep bombing the other part for 2 straight months, killing civilians?
What I can say is this: our military is still currently in Somalia.
I understand that.
Yeah.
My question is not that.
Yeah.
Did they keep
Bombing
bombing for 2 straight months civilians?
in Somalia?
Well, you said they sent the attack, right?
I don't believe so.
You see, that's a difference.
Yeah.
And what I wanted to say,
Well, I'm gonna.
after reading and seeing many videos, because I have done my research
Yeah.
homework on my own, Hamas, it is supposed to be it is called a terrorist organization, okay? But is it terrorist or is it resistance? One question, number one. Number two, Alec just told me something. No, they are attacking Hamas. Okay, question. In the USA, when a shooter is in a high school and they take all the kids hostages, do the police or the army bomb the school? No, just a question. No, did they mean?
That's a good point.
I just want to know. And in Spain, there was the ETA terrorist group.
Hold on.
The Spain didn't bomb Barcelona
Fair enough, but
to kill them.
you're misrepresenting what happened on October the 7th. On October.
The Apache helicopters bombing Israelis.
Let's be clear of what happened on October the 7th. On October the 7th, there were many Hamas militants or insurgents or terrorists, whatever you want to call them, who crossed the border and they kidnapped, they raped,
Uh-huh.
they murdered.
It's almost like that's what Israelis were doing to Palestinians.
If this is not one quid pro quo, this is not quid pro quo.
No,
Okay.
they did not attack military.
They did.
Civilians. No, they went.
And the military attacked their own civilians. There are witnesses. You can see the videos.
There are over 100 hostages still being held by Hamas.
And treated very well.
Hamas has built a massive underground, almost subway
They
system.
are not Avengers.
They're not what?
The Avengers. Everybody said, oh, they are in the tunnels. They must have like this room. I don't know. This is what they're telling them.
I'm going to be.
They mentioned, oh, Hamas has their quarters. And people imagine they are in a room like this. They are not.
It needs to be fact checked, Lon, when you're
And
talking.
Israel has the Mossad.
Hold
That
on.
is like the fourth most intelligence in the world.
Let's stick to what happened.
Hold on.
Let's stick
Wait,
to what
Lon, what you're talking about, the underground stuff,
underground tunnel.
it needs to be fact checked because I have seen several sources saying that that is pictures from something that is totally not even in Palestine.
There are tunnel networks. It is a factual thing.
Oh, really? It's a factual
I'm
thing.
going to. I need to say this as a learning moment too, but also I say this as always. As I discuss this as a Jew and as your professor, there's absolutely no animosity, no hard feelings between. This is an incredible discussion that we can have like this. However,
People, we are not arguing, eh? We are not, yes, let me
the
know.
only reason I would mark your paper down, you put no sources in your paper. Now, as I read that, I thought, I'm going to give Maite cut her some slack because I love what she does and maybe she didn't read that part of the assignment sheet. But I asked for 3 independent sources and I didn't see any sources in there.
I look for the rubric.
Getting information.
Okay, I look for the rubric all over DC Connect. You can check your page in DC Connect and there is not a rubric. I was looking for a rubric.
Somebody answer and say she's wrong because the assignment sheet.
I don't know. Actually, I could.
Can you show me? I have my computer here.
It does say 3 independent sources.
But if you didn't find it, there were problems this semester with this. For some reason, even though I went through it with everybody, I announced it on DC Connect.
I think maybe it was just like in a different folder.
Can I don't want to put anybody too much on the spot about this, but Maite, that is a weak excuse. It's a weak excuse to say you could not find the assignment sheet. But you're still going to do extremely well, no problem. But sources matter right now. Sources matter. Alec?
I would like to speak on what Maite said. She misquoted me. I was disagreeing with her statement of that Israel's targeting the Palestinian citizens.
Yes.
They are targeting Hamas without regarding the civilian casualties. So when she says, brings up the point of when a shooter enters a U.S. school, they don't bomb the school, obviously. If the Hamas were to have stormed a hospital in Israel and taken hostage, the Israelis would have not bombed the hospital, but they are doing that in Palestine. I agree that it's indiscriminative. I would agree with Lon and Richie that it is not a genocide and that it is not a targeted, planned assault on the people of people. It is a territorial expansion. It is power. It is about abusing power and wanting to take over the resources and control the land and not caring about who they walk over to get it. But yeah, this is a very messy situation. Hamas targeted civilians. They killed civilians and military targets. And like Richie said, it does not matter what the military is doing because the civilians are not responsible for it.
Absolutely. No, and they should not be responsible. Absolutely. Were you alive during 9/11, September the 11th, 2000? Like, how old were you?
I was a month old.
You're a month old. Okay. How old were you during September the 11th? 2000? You were alive. Okay. Now Maite, do not, well, okay, we could discuss this, but do you believe that that event, September the 11th, 2001, is a conspiracy orchestrated by the United States?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, totally.
Then I,
Totally. And you can see the videos of Netanyahu, by the way,
this,
talking about that like 2 days before.
Let's not forget.
And I can post it to you.
Let's not forget the.
And you can see the explanation from the experts in demolitions. They say there's no way a building will crumble like that unless it was totally planned. And you can see the shape of the, how do you call the bottom of the buildings? The foundations, they are like in this shape. Like they were like put dynamite or something like that to make them explode.
Yeah.
And they have a particular shape. So do you,
What else?
and one question, if you throw a plane into the upper floors, it didn't touch the foundations.
Yeah.
It might crash on top and crash 1, 2, I don't know how many, but plop. But it wouldn't destroy the whole thing.
What I wanted to say was regarding 9/11. I was alive, but I was very young, maybe 5 years old. But I don't believe 9/11 was something planned by the U.S. government. I do believe that the U.S. government took advantage of that situation because, and this is the reason why. Before 9/11, Osama bin Laden was already bombing other places, one of which was my country.
exactly. Can you?
Yeah, he was, he bombed American embassy in Nairobi. It was really horrific. They bombed a building in the middle of the central business district, and shards of glass literally ripped through people's bodies. It was,
Civilians.
yeah, many civilians were killed, and these are civilians who don't, they don't really care what the U.S. is doing. They're just trying to make a living for themselves. So there's no way you can tell me that the 9/11 was something planned by Osama bin Laden and the U.S. government. That it just does not make sense. Yeah, okay.
I would like to
Well,
speak on this
Let
before
Alec and hold on, Maite, let them. Yeah, go ahead. Excellent, Richie. Yeah.
I'm very excited about this, which is very strange for a 9/11, but
Talk about this.
yeah,
Yeah. Absolutely.
I very much love conspiracies. I'm huge into JFK conspiracies. Absolutely, that is the most craziest thing I've ever heard. The Warren Commission is liars. U.S. government cannot be trusted for most things. However, I've looked into 9/11. I've done all of the research. It is 100% not a conspiracy. It is the way the buildings fell completely checks out. It is you're talking about how the foundation, it's not about the foundation. It was, they built a building to withstand the forces of all of these floors individually being held up against each other. Then all of a sudden, 5 floors got taken out by a plane. The metal's weakened because they talk about jet fuel can't melt steel beams. I work with metal. I do blacksmithing as a hobby. And I can tell you that even though steel melts at 12,000 degrees, it doesn't need to be 12,000 degrees to lose all structure integrity. So if it's only burning at 500 degrees, a common house fire can absolutely collapse a house with steel structural beams. So what Richie said is that 9/11 was not a conspiracy, but the US government did take advantage of it to absolutely control multiple states. The war on terror was a conspiracy. It was the US war machine just rearing its head at full volume with everyone behind it. So I would love to talk to anyone who's interested in talking to me about this after class. I can show you all of the research in the videos,
Listening to Alec.
but it is
Okay.
it is
Make sure. Okay.
not a conspiracy. Factually, Osama bin Laden funded it himself. He trained the pilots himself, and it is too big of a thing to cover up for it to truly be a conspiracy.
And And I please ask you to read The Looming Tower by Lawrence Wright, outstanding journalist. He won the Pulitzer Prize for his book on the history of Al Qaeda and how it started and how it grew and culminated in 9/11. And we know for a fact from the over 300 people that Lawrence Wright spoke to, many of whom were very close to Osama bin Laden, including his family, including he did his homework and he lists all of the people he spoke to in the book. You know where Osama bin Laden was during the time when the planes were being driven into the World Trade Center and then into the Pentagon and then elsewhere. He was in Afghanistan. He got a television and he had several of his men with him, and they were able to connect and learn that the attack was going as he had planned. And even his closest advisors at that time didn't know that it was going to be on this scale, and they thought he was crazy. But when they saw it happening, they understood now what was taking place, and they realized that and it's not just him, it's Zawahiri, the Egyptian terrorist as well, who worked with him for decades and decades. These young men were fighting against what they felt was the world's growing freedoms and the world's, they feel, misunderstanding of Islam. And they felt that the United States was the enemy of Islam. And they first began these spectacular suicide attacks, not just in Kenya. There was also an attack on an American ship before Kenya. But Kenya, the attack on the American embassy in Kenya was the beginning of their decision to stage these massive, spectacular, almost like what Greenpeace used to do in the 1960s, when Greenpeace would stage these great public relations campaigns against nuclear weapons. I was part of it. I actually covered it at one point as a journalist. I was on a ship that went across the South Pacific, covering it for United Press International, when Greenpeace wanted to send a little boat across the international waterline into the French nuclear test site called Mururoa. The French, at the time, were testing their nuclear weapons in the 1980s on a little atoll not far from Tahiti. And Greenpeace, at the time, these were considered the first eco-terrorists, if you will. They would confront governments, or they would climb up poles somewhere, or they would stage some kind of public relations act that would get attention for their cause, which was to resist the development of nuclear weapons and also to stop the world from cutting down trees and from warming the planet. And this was all happening in the 1970s through Greenpeace. They were the original legal. So Greenpeace, at one point, their ship called the Rainbow Warrior, which used to go across the South Pacific and confront the French in the nuclear test, was bombed and destroyed by the French Navy in New Zealand. They sent another ship called the Rainbow Warrior 2 to finish a campaign. I covered that. I was the journalist covering that.
Lon, I think we're getting a little off topic.
What's that?
I think we're getting a little off topic.
My point is that there's a point. Bring me back, okay? There's a point. I will bring you my Al-Qaeda understood public relations. They understood that to get to world's attention, you need to be spectacular. And so Osama bin Laden had planned, he was very smart, a spectacular attack on the United States that would get the world's attention, and he saw this and he said this, will launch the new global jihad against the unbelievers, the infidels, which is all of us. We don't believe in Islam, even though it's a beautiful religion. He sees, he saw, he felt that all of this freedom is a threat to Islam, and the United States needs to be taught a brutal lesson. Read The Looming Tower. It won the best prize in journalism, and you will start to understand that it's easy to talk about crazy conspiracies that don't have evidence. It's hard to do your homework and piece together something that seems so awful. And that's exactly what the Nazis wanted with the final solution. They even said in the Wannsee Conference, it's there in the transcripts, the world will never believe what we have done if it ever gets out, because it's too awful. So let's do it. Let's just do it. Most people won't ever believe it. They'll think it's something else. And that's exactly what a lot of people still say to this day. It's impossible to carry out the planned liquidation and extermination of an entire group of people. In the Wannsee Conference, for 90 minutes, they sat down and they figured out, here's how you kill. And they were going after 15 million. They only got 6. This is the lesson of history we must always
Okay,
remember.
I gotta say something.
Crazy
Yeah,
conspiracy.
But I agree with you. I think, like, there is definitely more to this than meets the eye, because I don't know, I think it was the former director of either the CIA or the FBI who flat out said that
Henry Kissinger.
no, Ted Gunderson. But he flat out said that 9/11 was a huge cover up. So, and he said that basically the intelligence agency has been infiltrated by people who do not have the country's like best intentions at heart. So, but like what I wanted to say on relation to Osama bin Laden, though.
Before you go on with that, go read a journalist account where he talked to the people who were close to Osama bin Laden, including agents. One agent, his name is Ali Soufan. He is one of just 8 agents with the American intelligence who speak Arabic. And he was the one who interrogated one of the Al Qaeda suspects who helped identify others. Yes, you're right. There was a conspiracy. It was a conspiracy of religious fanatics.
Well, the thing is that those religious fanatics were trained by the CIA to overthrow the official government. But then they went off the hands of the CIA and the state. That's the problem when you take a lunatic and train him, and they went way too much far. When you say that in your country there were this conflict, I wouldn't hesitate for a minute to say that the long black hand of the USA was there, okay? Because there's not, they have this war machinery to work in 24/7, and they need to sell that. So every conflict on the planet has been orchestrated by them. If not directly by them, it's like a bouncing action of whatever they have planned. Sorry?
Domino effect.
Sorry?
Domino effect.
That domino effect.
I just wanted to throw in
Sure.
that what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, Osama bin Laden.
Yes.
I think that maybe he did like do a bunch of like other terrorist crimes, but like in this particular instance, if for example, if I was the USA and I was trying to figure out why we would need an excuse for more public security and basically a tighter lock on the grid, if you will. What is there better than having a big terrorist event on live TV that is basically showing the country is under attack and that we need to put all these policies in place to make sure that the people do not basically have their best interests being met by the American government.
Sure.
And okay, we obviously need to scapegoat somebody. So okay, who's world-renowned terrorist that we could kind of pin this on? And I think they just saw, oh yeah, this guy's done a bunch of other crimes. Let's scapegoat him. And I feel like that's exactly what you would do if you were the United States of America government.
Well, I would
so-
say this because it's such a great conversation. Okay, sorry,
I-
Alec. Yeah, go ahead.
I would like to jump in with two things. Maite said that the Al-Qaeda was funded by the CIA. It was not true. It goes on to what Ryan says. It's-
Well,
videos. Yes. Yeah, the CIA director.
He was into conspiracy theories.
But I am super into conspiracy theories. Another one is that the United States government killed MLK to stop black people from having rights. But so, like, believe me, I would love to be able to say that 9/11 was a conspiracy theory. But Osama bin Laden hated the US government too much. He hated Americans, he hated Christianity, he hated everything so much that he would not have accepted. So maybe the CIA funded other people, maybe they funded some secretly camps, whatever. But Osama bin Laden was very rich. His whole the Bin Laden family, you can still look it up. The Bin Laden construction company, they built the United Arab Emirates. Like, they built the whole fucking thing. Sorry.
Okay, it's Somalia. Talk about Somalia. You spent time in Somalia and built all sorts of roads.
Yes, they are super rich. They were very, very much close.
His
tied to the royal
family was super rich.
and he stole a bunch of money from them.
Mhm.
He had a stipend. He went and studied in England and was being paid millions of dollars every month. And he was
Alec.
radicalized while he was there.
Alec.
Then he went off, and when he trained to fight the Russians, and that was when he took
Have you
money.
heard? Have you heard about? Sorry. Have you heard about Machiavelli? Machiavelli. Okay. He was this humanist person from the Renaissance. He wrote a book called The Prince. And one of the principles of this book is a leader, or I don't know if it's a leader or a prince, must do whatever it takes to get to his goals. And he did that for Cesare Borgia. If you need to rape, kill, destroy, humiliate yourself, make friends with the devil, kill your family, you're gonna do it because your goal is your objective. You really think that with all that war machinery offer in a silver plate to overthrow a country, this terrorist group will balance his hatred through the convenience? Please? You need to study a little more about people.
I have studied this a lot, and I can tell you,
Perhaps you wouldn't.
why would
There are many people that would.
Osama bin Laden and the bin Laden family were very much in favor with the royal family of Saudi Arabia. And Osama bin Laden himself fell out of family, both his favor and the royals, was when the United States, no, not the United States, an Iraqi dictator, I think.
Saddam Hussein? Saddam Hussein?
Saddam Hussein invaded
Iraqi?
Kuwait, I think.
Kuwait?
Kuwait, yes.
War in Kuwait and America?
Yes. So yes, then the Saudi royal family felt threatened, and they invited the United States Army into
This is right.
Saudi Arabia, and they
This is a fact.
Yes.
invited them to build
You know
military.
what these countries have in common?
Bin Laden,
Oil.
Bin
Let's
Laden,
follow the money, Alec.
Bin Laden.
Let's follow the money.
That. To the point, there's
Well, no, there's some.
he.
Just
he-
a second. Hold on. We've got 5 minutes. I can just say we have 5. But, okay, but hold on. I want to hear it, and then let's see if we can come to some understanding because it shouldn't be. This is a great conversation. I want to make sure there's some learning here.
Spoken. He's been asking to speak for how long now? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just.
Well,
tired
we're
of
trying, but we're
talking
but,
about
but
this, you know?
wait a minute. Wait a minute. Would you tell us?
Thank
just
you.
Tell us what we need to move on to. Help us.
I think that how this even started in the first place was terrorism, correct? This whole conversation stemmed from the Palestine discussion, right?
That's where it started to take off.
Yes.
Quite nicely, I thought, but okay, but maybe.
Right, but now it is turned into not even a discussion. I think it's dividing the class a little bit, and I don't really like the
Let's bring it together then.
well, I don't really like no. I don't really like how it's dividing the class, and this has happened before with the previous discussion we have had about the Palestine and Israel conflict, and I don't really think it is an appropriate topic to be talking about anymore, if I'm being honest with you, because you have your own reservations as to why you're Jewish and supporting Israel and whatever.
So I think there's a real learning moment here.
I'm not saying that it's not a learning moment, but it's dividing the class. Everyone has their own reservations as to why they believe a certain thing.
Confirmation bias.
Richie,
Is that what's happening?
no, Richie is from Kenya. He's experienced things in Kenya. You have a different point of view from Maite, who's from Mexico. She's experienced different things compared to Ryan, who's, I'm sure you've lived here pretty much your whole life, or you've lived here your whole life. We all have a different point of view, and our point of view, like, not necessarily is right or wrong, but there are different things in our life that will sway as to why we are believing certain things. Correct?
Well, then we have some work to do, and I think you're saying.
I mean, there's not much work we can do in the last 2 minutes. No, it's not that I'm bored.
Well, then.
No, I just don't think.
To move this forwards. Go ahead.
I'm
serious.
I mean, I just wanted to say something like it's not really about too much what's going on in I guess the right now times of Israel and Palestine, but I just want to speak like I guess generally on that, like in terms of like more I guess Christian biblical based knowledge. Like I don't know, I just think it's kind of interesting how when they talk about like the end times and stuff like that, they talk about like, oh yeah, like Michael is supposed to be like the archangel, supposed to be like the guardian of Israel. And they say that Israel will only be like basically taken over when like, Lucifer rises or whatever. And I don't know, they seem like Lon was talking about, I think a couple weeks ago, how like, world is somewhat on the edge of like, global like war. And I don't know, I think that's like, but I think that there's like I'm not saying it's definitive like these things are gonna happen, but I'm just saying it's interesting how it's happening at like this time in history, that like all this stuff is happening at the same time. So I don't know.
I'm just going to propose, just because we're almost done, that we stay till we get past that.
I have an exam after this. I can't stay for the whole class.
Okay, then my table stay. Whoever can stay, we're going to jump from that, Ariana. Thank you. You don't want this class to be divided.
No, I really don't. I really don't want the class to be divided, because I find it's inappropriate for a school setting for us to be at each other's. Well, I wouldn't say we're at each other's throats. However, there is a big difference as to what Alec believes and what Maite believes, and I feel like we are going after each other a little bit.
No, I'm not. I love Maite. I have enormous. I've said this a zillion times. I think, so I'm not at anybody's throats. I'm just being passionate and giving you what I feel. But underneath, I love it. I think this is wonderful.
No, I understand. I just
have a class, but
I just don't think it is appropriate in terms of biases in a classroom setting. It is not appropriate.
If I could say a final thing, I think you're right. Maite and I could argue conspiracy theories till
exactly. This can go on for days and days on end. Like
yes. So we will continue our discussions on set time. If I could address a final thing to the class, my message would be overall, to sum up the class, to learn to think independently, not to follow the narrative history has taught us, unless what the current narrative taught us, to think independently, to read your own and learn and reflect on how certain actions can affect the future, whether you think that or not. How a small just act can butterfly into a huge thing. And I think that is one of the key elements of this class, how we started out with the Big Bang, a small thing, and now we're here. So that was my final message to the class. Learn to be independent.
Yeah, and I would like to say something about that learn independently. Okay, that's a very good thing to do. But I would advise that don't you just read the things that you like. Don't you just read the things that think like the books that think like you, that you are attracted to. Read the other side.
That's confirmation bias. That's what it is.
Okay. If you read the other part, the parts that are against you, the parts that I don't like you, you can make up your own mind because you are taking both sides. Yes, and that is when I have told you over and over, question everything. Okay, just because even the book that you are recommended to read, that can be biased. That's only one person's point of view. Perhaps you can read the other person and from other countries' authors as well, because they have a different vision.
I think we're almost at the end. We need to give Richie a chance to speak. We need Azam to sum up, and then we're going to end, okay? And if you need to go, I don't want to block you from succeeding on your other things going on here with your exam. We're going to finish this, and it will be posted, the recording, so you will see how this ends. But Ryan's going to be able to give his thoughts, Richie will, and Azam, and I'll not say anything at that point. I'll let you guys have the final word. But I appreciate what you said. You said enough division. So
It's happened before, and I've noticed this pattern, and I just don't feel comfortable with the way the behavior is in the class when it comes to certain topics, as there are many people who either agree or disagree, or they have a completely different topic, the theory in mind, you know what I mean? And I just don't think in a classroom that it is very healthy to just battle against topics like that, you know what I mean? And that's all I have to say. I really enjoyed this class. This semester was one of my favorite classes. And if I had to say one thing that I disliked was that I found in certain situations there was some division. And that was it.
isn't that okay in life
Yeah.
to be comfortable?
Yeah, it's
comfortable. Isn't that all?
yes, it's okay.
Still respect each other and
Yeah.
isn't it okay?
It's okay. However, in a classroom setting, is it appropriate is my question.
I just want to. Yeah, that's.
I believe that too.
I understand.
It might not like you. It might not like you. It might not like
Take-
Alex. But
Yeah.
this is the crash of ideas and the human knowledge goes up. This is the dialectic process going on.
The clash. Say that again, would you
Okay.
please?
Yeah.
If we don't discuss these topics here, where are we going to discuss it? This is the place, and it's said for this. This is the clash of ideas, and the human knowledge rises up because it might not like you, it might not like me, it might not like Alec or Richie, but from here we take a substance, we take ideas, we take different points of views. The discussions are necessary
Yes.
to create new ideas. If we are always, all right, I understand, yes, oh, no, that's, nothing is coming from there, okay? We need this clash of ideas to crumble them, to discuss them, to create new ones. I might get angry. It's all right to be angry. It's all right to be sad.
I'd say that's not even
This is dialectic.
Maite, that's not even my point. My point is that it is dividing the class. We are supposed to be learning together, instead of going against each other, correct?
I'm not fighting with Alec.
Okay, but that's my perception of what's
Well,
happening.
you have to work on your perception.
Okay. Well, that is just my personal perception, and it is a division of the class, in my opinion, right?
There again, you have to work in your perception.
Okay.
And we are not fighting.
Okay.
I just wanted to say something regarding like debates. The thing is about like when you study history, the reality is this: the truth doesn't change. Our opinions change. So the truth will always remain, but it's our job to discuss what the truth is actually is. We'll always be discussing about the truth, but the truth itself doesn't change. Yeah.
Okay. One last thing, because I have to go,
Okay.
which now is actually feeling like it's a division because you guys are claiming that I'm wrong or whatever. But anyways, this is just how I feel again.
Okay.
Okay.
We are not against you.
Okay,
Do you want me to stop the live stream? Like, it's okay, because I don't want to trigger anything, but this is precisely what a classroom should be for.
no,
and these
okay.
conversations are great. Okay, so please tell us something, because you have given us so much. Maite is so right.
It
Can't learn.
when
can't talk about
listen,
it, work on
when it comes to this class, I don't think I should be feeling frustrated when I leave when we have conversations like this, because I feel like we have conversations like this and people are leaving and not entirely understanding what is being said, and they're leaving frustrated. For example, that one time that we had a class with Yasmin and me, and we were talking about Palestine. We were both frustrated. I ended up emailing her about it because I wanted to check in and see how she was doing afterwards. That was a big frustration. It led into my weekend for me being frustrated. And I don't think that's what should be happening. I shouldn't be frustrated. I feel like I should be satisfied with the conversation I had in class, but it should not end with frustration, I guess is what I'm
I'm
saying.
going to put a thought that has been said by many today, and you'll even see it as an ad campaign of the library system now in Toronto. We must learn to be comfortable with the uncomfortable, because this is the complex world we live in today. But that doesn't mean we lose our faith in one another, Ariana. It just means that we can accept the discomfort. That's all.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. Yes.
Now, I'm going to say we must learn to be comfortable. It's a cliche right now. I hate to end with a cliche, but even the Toronto Public Library system now, and I take a subway or a bus up here, it's all over the subway. Come to the library where you will learn how to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. Okay? We must learn to be comfortable with the uncomfortable.
I think Conor McGregor said something similar. The more you seek the uncomfortable, the more you will become comfortable. So, but he was talking about fighting, so.
But let's end there, okay? I hope that maybe sometime you'll come back to the recording of this class and be proud of yourselves for having discussed so passionately and so intelligently about something that touches such a raw nerve. And that, yes, if we can't talk about these things in a classroom, where are we going to find a way to talk? So I thank every one of you for sharing what you've shared. And,
Ariana, it was wonderful how you defend Palestine. It was wonderful. It makes me feel good.
Thank you all for a semester. The words I would say were something that will come back to the idea of humanity. We've explored the story of humanity this semester, trying to understand how we developed, how we grew, how civilization took shape, how it all happened so quickly in terms of the growth of human civilization because of humans' creative intelligence and critical thinking. Maybe as you think about this course, you will always remember that humanity is not just about humankind or mankind. It's about the state of humanity, the bond, the compassion, the tolerance. I hope that you've begun to think more about being vigilant about protecting that humanity and protecting these freedoms, because we can go backwards, and we must be vigilant in protecting what we've won for ourselves. That will allow Richie to be here, traveling from Kenya, that would allow Maite to come from Mexico and be living bravely and freely as a woman with a wife who's a woman and 2 boys. I mean, talk about modern, talk about progressive, talk about free. A woman speaking like this, you know, in most of human history, you wouldn't have seen this. And then, you know, Azam, that you're listening carefully. Alec comes in at the end. Student back there always listening. Ryan coming like this. And finally, Ariana. Maybe in these weeks, in this course, you've seen there's so much in you. At 19 years old, the intelligence and the heart. But you still have things to learn. There's a lot, but boy, there's potential. Thank you. Okay, everybody. And, you know, if you need to reach me, just email me, okay, or come speak to me. And best with your exams. I can tell you all the students here that I'm seeing right now are going to do very well. Alec, we can have a little discussion just about missed things, okay? Ryan, I'll help you with something, but, you know, I'm here to help. Okay? Take care. Thanks. All right, live stream done, okay? Thank you. Thank you all. I think Trevor was there the whole time. Trevor was listening. Okay,
Yes, I was.
great, Trevor, thanks. So if you need to reach me, just shoot me an email.